Radha, how's your day going besides having to answer the same questions over and over and over again?
No, I haven't. You're the second interview, so this is the second time, and I'm sure they're going to be different questions. I'm going good. I'm a little jet lagged. I just got in from Australia, so I'm just sort of, I don't know what time I'm in, but I'm having a coffee as we speak.
Coffee o'clock. I'm glad to hear that. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on this movie. And the movie is very of the times, but I couldn't figure out when was it actually filmed?
At the time. Yeah, it was filmed at the time. I guess that's kind of I don't know if that's the thing you want to push about it or if that's kind of the secret ingredient. But we were shooting the movie pre-election in Los Angeles just before the helicopters came and the trucks were driving up the street and it was like civil unrest. So it was that kind of uncomfortable period where people were actually locked in their houses and the director was shooting from her house. And everybody was sort of in the spaces that they were in, with her directing via Zoom, I guess, screaming at her boyfriend who was moving the camera around.
Do you remember around how long the shoot was for you?
She said, let's just do this little experiment for a week. Like, I just need 3 days of your time. And then the little experiment got a little bit bigger and like, can I just come over now? But it was like shot very spontaneously. Like, can we come over this afternoon, tomorrow at 4, like depending on whatever people were trying to do with their lives.
Right.
In a little bit, it was a bit invasive, but it was, a really interesting thing and a really great diversion as well from just this sort of pause that everybody was involved in and the stress of it. Like, nobody knew if they had any money or what was going on. And, it was an opportunity to sort of turn that into something creatively. And I think we were kind of enjoying the absurdity of it as well. And it was a kind of welcome relief and opportunity for us to kind of laugh at things. So that was the process of it. And then she was amazingly able to turn that sort of scrap palette into a film, which nobody thought was going to happen. And then it was like I'd be in Australia and I'd get a call like the doctor's office or something. Radha, I just need you quickly to like record this line. like again, like very invasive, but she got it done that way. Like literally, you'd be at the dentist and you'd have to record a line for Cecilia for the movie just so she can edit this thing. And that's how she did it. And so I was, it's super impressive that she was, and it sort of made me think differently at all about the filmmaking process and everybody's complaints about the constraints and what is actually possible,
Right.
if you have this creative energy. And it was shot on a phone. So it's not the medium. It's really the ideas. And she really kind of opened my eyes there.
It's a very impressive cast and distribution, et cetera, for an art film that no one knew what was going to happen. So congratulations on seeing something through like that. Now, one of your co-stars, Bob Odenkirk, as a big fan of alternative comedy, I've been watching his stuff for close to 30 years, Mr. Show and all that. And now he's this mainstream A-list actor. When did you first get familiar with Bob? Through
this, actually. Like, I hadn't been watching a lot of television, so I wasn't tuned into his, iconic status, I guess. And yeah, luckily he was excited about doing this and obviously brought so much to the project that was just happenstance. And I think it was something like Cecilia had directed a movie many years ago and wanted to work with him on that. And so they knew each other like that. And so there was a bit of a relationship there, and that's how he got involved and interested in doing it, and then became quite involved in the process of finishing the film as well.
Now, the way that you described the making of the film, it does sound very stressful, but you're very happy with the end result of it. But I'm hoping that it's about 0% similar to your actual pandemic experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't stressful making the film. It was the time that was stressful. You know what I mean?
Right.
And in a sense, we were locked up, so that was accurate, I guess. And yeah.
Well, most of the people I know from the creative field did have that early on phase of going, well, it's time to do some artistic projects that I never did before. In other words, hey, I'm going to archive some of my old songs or find my old photos and find content. But for actors and actresses, it's a little different because unless you're, I don't know, vlogging or something like that, you're just waiting by the phone in a way. Was it scary for you in that sense, or did you already have stuff that was done and you were waiting to come out?
Well, strangely enough, I'd made a movie that did really well because of the pandemic. It was like a little horror movie that we made in upstate New York. And it screened, or sort of like for one night, it was #1 or something on what people were watching at the time. And I don't know why anyone would want to watch a horror movie during the pandemic, but people did. And so it got some attention for that. So there were things like that were going on, but I think, you know, actor or you know, garbage collector, everybody was in this holding pattern and nobody quite knew what was going to happen next. And, you know, the government was handing out money and it felt like, you know, the war was going to start, and it was just like, what the hell is going on? So I think for creative people, and maybe especially if you were in retreat, like in the country or something, there was this refrain and this opportunity to step out of culture and just really connect to yourself. And there was a bit of that in the city, but in the city, there was more the sense that maybe someone was going to jump over the fence and kill you. You know what I mean? There was a little bit more stress. I think everyone was having a different experience, but there was certainly, you know, obviously, you know, really beautiful things that happened and really strange things that happened, and making them film sort of gave us opportunity to kind of laugh at ourselves a bit.
Got it. Well, down to the last two questions before I let you go. For you, this is an old movie because you made it years ago. For us, it's a totally new movie. Are you allowed to say what's next or where we should be looking for you next?
Yeah, I mean, I recently made a film that's screening at Sundance, which is sort of an ode to the ocean and a kind of a reflection on the environmental, I'm going to say crisis, but that sounds like the environmental situation that we find ourselves in, and a positive take on that. And it's kind of a love letter to the ocean. So that is something I'm very proud of. And then there's another movie I recently made, which is about not taking your life for granted, because life is so precious and so fleeting. And then I made this kind of quirky TV series in Australia called Last Days of the Space Age, which is set in the 1970s, and it's sort of, you know, kind of all framed in that period. And, you know, it's going to be a second series. It's all going to take place in the 80s. So each sequence will kind of move through time, and it's a sort of sociologically, you know, you reflect on these periods, but you also see the kind of how these people change over time. So that's ambitious, but I think they're going to pick up the second series of that. So that looks kind of interesting. My character evolves, which is good. And then, there's something I'm looking at today, which looks very cool. I guess I can't talk about that. But
yeah, that's probably under embargo, but I'm glad to hear that you're steadily working and pushing the craft ahead. It's not a bunch of movies where you're on set for one day, it's your body double doing the rest of them. You're actually still doing the work.
Yeah, why is that better?
Okay, For us, the people who like great film and television, it's better. For you, okay, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I think the point of anything, and you probably find this yourself, is not the result of it, but the process of it. And maybe the thing with this movie with Cecilia was very much about process. And, you know, it was collaborative and it was with friends and all of that. So it didn't have any of this usual sense of, you know, industry or that kind of pressure. And it was kind of pure in that sense. Got
it. Excellent point. Last question.
One more point to it. Like, yeah, what's the context of it now? Like, we've all been through that. So why are we looking back? But I think there's enough time actually that there's almost a kind of a nostalgia about it. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that, you know, like, you know, these sort of silly things that, oh, not silly things, but things that we were quite worried about that now, oh God, we don't have to worry about, it feels like right now.
Well, there you go. And the last question before I let you go, who is the greatest Australian rock band of all time?
Well, I don't know, for some reason, INXS is coming into my brain. But that's just how it came out.
Well, thank you for your time and really looking forward to whatever's next.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Paltrocast.